Hello everyone! Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm sharing a very special story, a classic tale with an important lesson, The Miller, His Son, and the Donkey. Join me as we explore this meaningful adventure together. Let's get started. The Miller, His Son, and the Donkey. Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by green fields and gentle hills, there lived a miller who worked day and night grinding grain into flour with his old mill. The miller lived with his only son, a cheerful and hard-working young man who helped with everything he could. Together, they took care of the mill, the animals, and the little house where they lived. Among their possessions was an old and wise donkey. The donkey had been their faithful companion for many years. They used him to carry grain, flour, and all kinds of heavy loads. However, over time, the donkey had become slow and less strong, and he was no longer useful for work at the mill. The miller, worried about the animals' well-being and thinking about his family's needs, decided it was time to sell the donkey. One fresh and sunny morning, the miller and his son prepared everything to start a journey to the nearby city. They would take the donkey to sell it and get some money to buy the things they needed for the house. Before leaving, the young man's mother prepared a good lunch and wished them a safe trip. So, with a backpack on their shoulders and the donkey walking quietly beside them, the miller and his son set off down the dusty path leading to the city. The sun was high, and the air smelled of wildflowers and fresh earth. As they walked along, they soon came across a group of villagers watching from the side of the road. One of them, a stout man with a loud voice, approached and said mockingly, "Look how foolish they are! They're walking next to a donkey they could ride. How ridiculous!" The others in the group laughed and whispered disapprovingly among themselves. The miller and his son felt embarrassed by their words. They looked at each other silently and decided to listen to the criticism. They both climbed onto the donkey's back. The donkey, though old, patiently carried the weight of both. They continued their journey like this, riding the donkey together. At first, everything seemed fine, but soon they met another group of people sitting in the shade of some trees. When they saw the miller and his son pass by, a woman with a stern face called out, "How cruel you are! You're both riding the poor donkey and making it carry all your weight. Don't you have a heart? The animal should rest, not suffer." The miller and his son felt uncomfortable and sad about these words. So, to avoid seeming cruel, they decided to get down and walk alongside the donkey, letting it carry only the load. Further along, they encountered a third group of travelers walking in the opposite direction. When these travelers saw them, they were puzzled. One of them loudly said, "Why are you walking if you have a donkey you could ride? You have no common sense or logic." The miller and his son, now more confused and anxious not to offend anyone, decided the best solution was to carry the donkey themselves. So, with great effort, they lifted it by its front and back legs. The donkey, surprised, let them carry it without protest. But this was a very difficult task, and the donkey was quite heavy. As they crossed a narrow wooden bridge over a rushing river, the miller and his son lost their balance. The donkey slipped and fell into the water, disappearing downstream among branches and foam. The miller and his son sat down at the edge of the bridge, exhausted, sad, and disheartened. They watched the water flow by and realized, with heavy hearts, that no matter what they did, they couldn't please everyone. They understood that trying to live by following every opinion and criticism of others was not the right path. The most important thing was to trust their own judgment and do things with common sense and respect for themselves and others. After resting and drying their tears, they began their journey home, with the lesson learned and hope that sometimes the best thing is to be true to yourself. Moral: you can't please everyone, and sometimes trying to do so only creates more problems. It's best to trust your own judgment and not be swayed by others' opinions. And that's the end of our story today. I hope you enjoyed it and learned the valuable lesson it teaches us. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share for more stories like this. See you next time.